This is going to be my second attempt at part 2. First attempt failed. The screen capture program I was using choked after 10 minutes. So hopefully this time it's going to work. Sorry. We're going to start by adding a menu to our a menu strip to our application. I'm just going to remove the one because I don't like it. We're going to add a series of menus here, which are going to add some functionality to our program. To make a little underscore under a letter, we can put a and sign. So and file would make it have that little accelerator there. And I'm going to make an exit option. Okay. We're also going to have edit. And edit normally has a little underscore thing. And we're going to say undo and redo. We're going to add a draw menu, which is going to again have some new functionality. I'm going to say brush size, and in there I'm going to have just two sizes. You can change this later, smaller and larger. And I'm also going to have the ability to change the color. So we're going to use a color dialog box to select what color we want. I'm then also going to make a help menu, and I'm going to put about, and that particular item I'm going to add a shortcut key, and that's going to allow that particular item to be activated by just pressing one particular button. I'm going to make that F1, which is normally what you would press to get help. We will offer no help. We will offer only propaganda. So what I did with there was I double clicked on the menu in order to get the code that will be associated with it. And I can say message box dot show ICS4U is for you, whatever. Capitals are good. I should have just all caps that. So if we run our program now and we press F1, our little menu comes up. We could also select it there. I'm not quite sure why the underscores aren't showing up. It might be a Windows 7 kind of global design override type thing. Alright. So we would like to be able to change the brush size, for example, and also the color. In order to do that, we're going to need some variables in here to store the brush size and color. So I'm going to say brush my brush to indicate the brush that I'm going to be drawing with, and I'm going to set the default to the red solid brush, and int my size equals 6. Now we also have to change our paint routine in order to allow us to use these two variables because we hard-coded it before. So we can either, in this little thing here, we can go to the paint, or we could just scroll down and hope that we can find it. So I'm going to say my brush, and this is going to be my size divided by 2. So we're basically trying to center more or less the ellipse that we're drawing, the circle, at the location that we click. Because I'm using even numbers, I guess it's off by a pixel or something, but whatever. Okay, so now our program will behave exactly like it did before, because we haven't actually set those variables to be anything other than what they were originally. So if I click on smaller, I can say my size equals 6, so that'll be what we're starting at normally, and that's fine. We're going to go to larger, and I'm going to say my size equals 12. And I can also go to color, but we haven't added that dialog box that I was talking about before yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our toolbox. We're going to go to color dialog. We're going to throw that in. It comes down here. Erase the one because I don't like it. And we're going to go down to color. And what we're going to say here is my brush equals new solid brush. And we just need to pass the color of that dialog box. Color dialog dot color. But we better show that dialog box. So we show the dialog box. That allows us to select the color. We then change the brush so that it is using that color. If I run the program now, works kind of like before, but I can change the brush size to larger. Uh-oh, what happened there? When I changed the brush size, not only did it change it for what I'm about to draw, but it also changed all the existing stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, so what's happening is because we have global settings, those settings not only affect what we've already drawn, but they also affect what we're going to draw. So we don't want that to happen. We probably want, when I click and draw something, that those points should retain their size and color independent of what future changes might have in store. In order to do that, every point needs to have associated with it a size and a particular brush with a particular color. The easiest way to do that is to make a class that's going to encapsulate that information. So we have an abstraction now, which is a point that also has some complexity, which is going to be the size and color. So we're going to add a new class, and this is going to be for our new point, which is going to keep track of its own information. So I'm going to call this super point. We need to include a using directive for system.drawing, which is going to allow us to include a regular point inside the super point. So the super point includes the point plus additional information. We could, if we wanted to, actually use something called polymorphism, and we could extend the class point to have added functionality. But at this point, we're not. We're not willing to do that. So what we're going to do instead is add a point and some other stuff to this class. We also have to make sure that we make the class public so that we're going to be able to use it. So I'm going to have a my point, and of course the default visibility here is private. I have my brush, and I have int my size. Alright. We also are going to need a constructor. So I'm going to say public super point. And when I create a point, I'm going to include a actual point. I'm going to include an actual brush. And size. So in here we're going to say this.myPoint or my brush. So the this.myBrush is this one up here. So this.myBrush is talking about this one, and this myBrush is talking about the locally bound version of that name. This.myPoint is equal to my point, and this.mySize is equal to my size. So that's going to initialize those things. What else is the super point going to need to do? Well, we should probably make it so that our super point can draw itself. I mean, we could still draw it in FRM Draw's paint routine, but it makes sense to really let an object draw itself, so then our paint routine in FRM Draw doesn't get all complicated. because we could have lines, we could have ellipses, we could have filled stuff. It makes sense that an actual object that you draw is able to draw itself. It makes it a little more straightforward, and it encapsulates that functionality so we could reuse it or easily modify it without modifying something else that might cause other things to break. So we're going to say public void draw graphics G, and in here we're actually going to draw the point using the information that we have. So I'm going to say here G dot fill ellipse, whatever, and we're going to say my brush, comma, new rectangle, and I'm going to have to go on a second line here. You can just have it all in one, of course. This is going to be my point dot x minus my size divided by 2, comma, my point dot y minus my size divided by 2, comma, my size, comma, my size. So now the point is able to draw itself if we ask it to. So we're going to now have to make use of this super point, and to do that we're going to come back to FRM draw, and we're going to have to change some things. Instead of having a list of points, we're now going to have a list of super points. Oops. And instead of just adding a point, we're going to add a new super point, and the new super point also needs to know my brush and my size. Okay, and then down here in the for each inside draw, instead of manually drawing it, we're just going to say p dot draw. Oh yeah, change the type here to super point. P dot draw e dot graphics. And now that we've done that, we can draw something, change the size. It's separate because each point is remembering its own size. I can change the color to, I don't know what that is, fuchsia. And you'll notice that the new things that I'm drawing are completely separate from what's already there. So that's kind of useful. So now each point is a super point that stores its own information, and our program is a little bit more functional. Okay, in part 3 we're going to add the ability to undo and redo points that we've drawn by using a stack, and we're going to modify our code to no longer use the list. Alright, so I'll post this code in case you got lost or you need to refer to it. Alright, thanks.